Yes, yes, yes. Need to check if it's working, as I always do. We should be live though. We should be live. We should be live, but I need to check it each and every which time. So the lives always start like this, which I get comments on after at the end of them saying, oh, "Do you always start your lives like that?" Like, yeah, I do, mate, because I never know if they're working or not. So that is the advert to suggest that we are live, but I have to wait for the advert. Nobody gets the privilege. Can I hear myself?
Should be live.
Yes, I can hear myself. Bosh, biddly biddly boy. Yes, yes, yeah. Here we go. Ain't nobody down round here. I've got a bit of a cold. Can't have that. I cannot lie. Yes, Ming. Yes, Joe Depp. Cheers, brother. If I'd have followed that, you're live, I'd have known. I didn't realise. I thought this would be in front. Never behind, never in front. Always on time, even though I was late. But yes, what's good, everybody? You know what time it is, don't you? Might as well get on with the introduction. Get that badger in and on and over here. He's in, he's on, he's over, he's here. Had to move back to get his greatness in. He's struggling a bit here. He's kicking off a bit. AOP now, what's good, brother? Neil, what's good? Smash a like for us, boys. Tim Flowers, the best named man on the internet. Got loads to talk about today, to be fair, boys. I've obviously not been live for a couple of weeks. I'm hoping there's a few comments come sizzling in, but because obviously I've not done a live since like before Christmas, I don't think. So I've been proper busy, but Farke's done his press conference, hasn't it? I don't know if everybody's seen it or what's biddly bow. Let's go. Yes, Ming. Farke's done his press conference, and it's been somewhat of a, I would say, a bit of an eye opener. So he's actually put a bit of doubt in my, not doubt in my mind, because I've said previously I don't really care which way we go with Meslier silent S at this point, just due to the fact that, you know, I think Farke will make the right decision, i.e. the decision that makes most sense for the club. This idea that he's a stubborn man and that he'll just go with whatever, and, you know, whatever, yeah, just because he's said something or he'll do something. He's said that he's going to play Darlow. Well, we knew we were going to play Darlow for this FA Cup game anyway against Harrogate Town. We were going to play him anyway, so that was always on the cards. So he's kind of like soft dropping Meslier. Anyway, he's made it clear that, you know. But as I say, that was to be expected. The irony is, we had a joke about that. I'm not going on Saturday, Marcus. I don't think. I might make a last minute decision to go to the game, but obviously I go to all home games, and it's a quarter to 6 kickoff. Quite a late. Not that that's late. It's actually quite good time, but 5:45, yeah. So by the time it's done, I'll be in a rush to get straight to work and stuff. And I normally have a couple of beers while I'm at game and stuff. So it'd be then getting a taxi, getting a train. So it's like I'm not 100% sure, but I might make a last minute decision on it on going. I don't know. Yeah, he's playing Darlow, so he's dropping Meslier silent S, but it's not really the case that he's dropping him, is it? Because, as I say, he was going to play in the FA Cup game anyway. He actually said that Darlow deserves some minutes, which I think he does. Now, he did go in quite a bit. He defended Meslier silent S, but he also went in on him a little bit, so it was quite refreshing, really. The reporters have put it on him a little bit as well, to be fair. They kept asking him, they always ask him the same questions, and Farke's very good at sort of like just weaving his way out and just talking a load of woof, really, just wobbling his way through. Ming says, uninspiring presser to say the least. I thought it was quite good, dude. A few casualties today, says Joe Depp, because obviously we've got Bamford out, which we're going to talk about. He's on my little points list here. He's out for 4 weeks, so we'll talk about that. Peru's obviously picking up some injuries, or he's got some sort of muscle problem. Neil Davison says, I better take that off my screen. Actually, I just highlighted it, but we have to stick with Santos because Darlow is wank, in my opinion. Marcus, he's travelling up from Wales. We better not lose. Yes, lad, we won't lose on Saturday. Don't worry about that. Ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, Farke said, Sakamoto Sensei says, I want a 9 and a 10. and a one-way rickshaw out of Ellen Road for Bamford. We all knew Mez ain't going nowhere. He wasn't wank versus Turkey, mate. I'm not 100% convinced on Darlow, but I don't really think it matters, to be fair. I think if Darlow comes in, he'll be alright. I think if Meslier Silent S stays in, I actually think Mez would be alright if he stayed. I think we're going up whoever goes in net. Quite literally, if I went in net, I think we'd still have a chance. But that's obviously a joke. So that wouldn't be the case. I'd be exposed. I reckon I'd last a game. I reckon if I got through Harrogate Town game, I'd last that game, and then it'd be you'd be exposed. Well, if Bambi don't want to go, he don't go. But the thing is, he won't go. He's injured now, isn't he? It's another window that he's injured for the whole 4 weeks. It's crazy. But I'm going to talk about what he said about Meslier. So he admitted that he admitted that every single goal was his fault, basically. And he said he was extremely angry and frustrated with him. He mentioned his other mistakes. He mentioned the Sunderland mistake, even though he was slightly more sympathetic towards that. But he did say he was very angry about it. He said that Meslier Silent S is very, very critical of himself, which is what you want in every single footballer, don't you? You know. He mentioned his loyalty towards the club. He said he could have found a way out a couple of times prior. Yeah. It depends which way Sun's facing. I'd take it off at Sun if Sun were in my eyes, I'd take it off just to throw everybody. And then I'd put it on in shade and everybody be like, this guy is a keeper because he's a bit edgy. But yeah, he mentioned his loyalty, saying it would have been quite easy for him to get out of there, start Championship when we went down. There were a few offers coming in and stuff. I don't know how true that is, in all fairness, because I don't know whether they'd have got rin of Meslier Silent S if they could have done. I think that's actually why they brought Darlow in on the basis that I think they thought that Meslier would be on his way out. But he did say, show me a keeper at his age, because obviously he's 24, isn't he? Show me a keeper at his age with his CV and the amount of games played. He's played more games, I think, than Darlow in his career, which is absolutely insane. So he's got like over 200 appearances. He's one of the highest appearance holders for Leeds United, ever, I believe. I'm not too highest Leeds United caps. Obviously, other than all that, it must be. Yeah, if he's on 200, he's obviously, apart from all old boys, he's well up there. Over 200 apps or whatever he's got, caps, or I don't know if they're called apps or caps. I know the caps in. It doesn't matter, does it? Caps in international. He mentioned that he was the goalkeeper of the year last year, and I know that sends everybody into an absolute bonkers mode. Everybody goes ballistic about that, but he was the goalkeeper of the year last year. I'm only repeating. Yeah, I know, Michael. Yeah, I didn't mean that at old boys. I just meant in recent history. I think there's only Jack Harrison that's still at the club that's got more. I think him and Byram or something. Joe Depp says it ain't Bambi's fault, it's the ball's fault for not dealing with the situation for the last 3 years, yeah. Don't see why Joffrey can't get utilised as third choice, in my opinion. He didn't even mention him. We're going to get to the Bamford stuff. I'll write that down because that's a good point. Didn't even mention Joffrey because he actually said about Nonto being an option up top, so he's obviously extremely not keen, but will Bamford ever score? I'm getting pressurised into talking about Patrick Bamford here. One thing I will say, and these are all legitimate, I'm up for these comments, these are all absolutely fine, we're just talking about it. But I don't know why Bamford gets so much attention, even in like the press conference today. I know he's out for 4 weeks and it's frustrating, but let me finish the Meslier and then I'll get straight on to Bamford. Let me talk about Bamford. Meslier rather. See, you've done me. Right, I'm talking about Meslier and I'm not looking at the comments until I've finished. He mentioned that he was the goalkeeper of the year last year. Said that overall, is he happy with his performance this year? He said no. But this is Leeds United, not Leeds divided, which I actually thought were quite funny. And being, you know, somebody that's fond of the odd rhyme, I enjoyed that. Leeds United, not Leeds United, not Leeds divided. I can't even say it. Somebody who's fonder than the rhyme, not necessarily fond of saying the rhyme. Leeds United, not Leeds divided. Farke said that he was angry after the game. He said Meslier knew the mistakes that he'd made, but Farke was undeniably angry. Everybody's angry. I'm a bit sick to death of this video, of the second goal when he palms it down, and everybody's really over egging that pudding. I think it's gone over the top with, like, because there's Rothwell there, Peru, Risley, and Rodon's prone to a whinge anyway. But I think it's just high pressure moments that I don't think it's particularly. I don't think they're actually, like, you know, gunning for him. Everybody's making it out. Just say what it is. They fell out. Don't then make it into. Well, I don't think they fell out. It's just like, you know, it's a frustration thing. We don't have to make it into some sort of, like, they've had enough of it. You know, I mean, I know a lad that were at the away game, to be fair. He was actually at the game, and he did say it was extremely hostile. And then I just think Meslier's head's gone a little bit. I really do. I just think it's a... And then that second goal was such a wobble. Like, you know, the first goal you can maybe get away with a bit because he's in no man's land, but it's sort of like, does he go, does he not? It's just and then it's a decent finish. He made two mistakes in that goal, which Farke did mention that goal as well, and he actually said that we left a massive, like, you know, all the defence moved over far too far to the right, and there was a huge gaping hole for that Kamara lad to run through. So it's, you know, there were loads of things wrong with that. He said that the pressure is normal at a club like this. He always calls us an emotional club, and I do think that comes from the few emotional fans that we do have within the racks, because I don't like being called an emotional club. It grinds my gears a little bit. I don't know. I don't like being called an emotional club. I know what he means, and he means it in a good way, but it doesn't feel good. Anything that's emotional never feels too good to me. But he said that they're in a team that he can think of in history who has a keeper of the season from last year. Granted, from last year, this is not my words. This is his words. Who sit top of the league, who, you know, in January, and then get rid of their number one. And to be fair to him, when he said that, I was like, get in. That is a mint line, you know. And ultimately, I will close on this unless anybody's got any more Meslier talk. Ultimately, he'll be judged, won't he, by the decisions that he makes now for the end of the season. So if, you know, whether you think it's a big issue, whether we bring somebody in or not, I don't think we need a keeper in. I think Darlow should take over for a little bit. And then I actually think you can find a way... to get Meslier Silent S back in. I think he'll finish number one by the end of the season, and on that, I'm going to open a bottle of Budweiser. I don't actually like Budweiser. No, I do like Budweiser. It's just a bit. I can't open it. Twist caps have got better of me. Fuck! I'm not even joking. I can't open it, boys. I have to get. Oh yes. Proof is in the pudding. It's real stuff. Take it back. I'm never dissing a beer again. Ming says if Darlow is given a run, that's fine, but if Mez comes straight back in, it's a real problem. Well, for the first time in a very long time, because I thought Mez was going to be shipped out and dropped for a few games, but how Farke was talking, it's. I still thought while he was discussing it and sort of just backing him and stuff, I thought, oh no, he is going to play. He is going to drop him, because he did say that he was going to bring him in for, obviously take him out for FA Cup game, and then it's quite a nice time to do it because Meslier Santos has got some time to sort of clear his head a bit as well. And then if Darlow starts the game against Sheff Wednesday, it's just Darlow starting in it, and then everybody gets on with it, including Mez. He sort of like gets to sit back a little bit. But I am starting to think that he will come straight back in. The legendary MVG there, Michael Van Gerwen, who I'm sure is a Leeds fan, says, yeah, but he will come straight back in. Well, we all know it in our hearts. So, I mean, I don't know it from the heart. I speak from the heart as often as possible, but I don't know whether when it comes to starting lineups, whether I can speak from the heart, but I am starting to think that he will come in. He'll end up being the number one by the end of the season again. I'm going to blow my nose, so I'm going to stop the recording of the mic so you don't all have to hear it. Oh, honestly, the webs we weave, it's red hot in here again as I just got eating on full crackers. It's insane. Digler TC says, I think he's going to drop Mez. Farke was just protecting him. Like the manager should, in my opinion. Well, Andy Rowe, welcome. I actually fear big style about this. If Meslier Silentness makes a couple of howlers I don't think he has to make a howler. I think, you know, when like Bamford goes through a patch, again we're going to talk about Bamford, but when he goes through a patch of like missing a few chances, or there's an open goal allegedly, but he's actually, the ball's behind him and he just can't steer it in, including nobody else on the pitch could steer it in, but because it's Bamford it becomes a huge thing. And I think it'll become like, you know, I remember after the Sunderland game there was a home game, and off the top of my head I can't remember who that game was in. It's not important, but I'm going to find out anyway who it was. And every time he got the ball there was like there was a genuine gasp every time he got the ball, like in the Kop end. No, where was it? Was that Sheffield United? That's crazy if it was Sheffield United. What a run of games that is. I forgot how hard that run of games was. Coventry, Norwich, Sunderland, Sheffield, Watford, Bristol. That was a shit game, wasn't it? And Millwall beat us a couple of weeks later. But yeah, there was a genuine gasp when he was on ball, and I think it'd be literally like, I actually think it could get really, really bad in there, and that will not do him no good, will it? Sakamoto Sensei says, I still feel there's a good keeper in there, but he's very discombobulated, needs a timeout. He does just need a timeout, Sakamoto, honestly. I don't know why we're all so like knee-jerky about it, and it's like he's done. It's like it's over for him. He's 24. There's plenty of keepers that have made some horrendous mistakes that have come back. We're not the biggest club in the world, so I'd agree if you were like, you know, if you're looking for Premier League title, and you know, like when who were that lad, Carrius or whatever, who dropping ball in Champions League final and stuff, and then you just knew we were never going to play for Liverpool again. It's like you can't come back from stuff like that. But in terms of Meslier, Soundness, whether or not he can do it at Leeds or not, whether his time has run short at Leeds and that's him done, that's a different argument. But there's definitely a career for him. It's not time for him to retire, is it? And we can't suggest that he's, you know, that this idea that he's a bottom, he's a bottom 10 team in Championship. I just don't know where. I don't know how you can compare keepers like that. Really, it doesn't have as much to do as some like shit team in Championship who concede loads of goals, but it's not Meslier's fault. So, for instance, if he were getting peppered every game and they were losing 3-0 every game, which we're not, we never lose, as we all know. If we were losing 3-0 every game, he'd have more to do, and if he made a mistake, nobody would bat an eyelid. The problem is, obviously, he's making mistakes in massive moments, and it's awful, you know, and it's infuriating, and it really got me the other day. Got me big style on that. The whole game, it was so bad, and I do think he cost us the game. Really, I think it's hard to argue that it didn't. I think it kicked out a massive amount of. It unsettled everybody, and that's all I would say about the argument that we're having. I don't think it's like I hate you, get out, I might get off this pitch. I think it's like you know, we were coasting, weren't we? I don't want to go back over it all. It's a week ago now, isn't it? How long ago is it? I don't know, but it's going to linger on this, isn't it? It's 4th of January, so I mean, it's not long ago at all. It feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like I ain't shut up about it. That's why. I feel like there's been a game in between, but obviously not. I'd rather see one of those wireframes used for practicing free kicks and goal. Brutal. The legendary MVG has retracted his statement. I was just about to post it. Why has Meslier slowly regressed? Was the ailing defence in the Prem or Big Sam's slam dunk? This Big Sam thing's been over-egged as well, saying Big Sam knew. Everybody's loving weighing in with comments saying Big Sam knew. It's like, oh, Big Sam knows everything, doesn't it? Everybody's sort of like got a bit of an hard-on for Big Sam, haven't they, all the time. And I get it to some extent, not the hard-on part, but I get it to some extent. I do sort of like him myself, I can't help it, but Big Sam is all about making a big move, and it's like, right, get him out, like pull him out, and then everybody's like, see, he's just come in, he's diagnosed the problem, he's pulled the number one out, he's brought whoever he brought in, I don't know who it was Darlow or whatever, I can't remember if he were at club at the time. Darlow didn't sign in Prem, did he? So I don't know who he brought in. I'm sure he'll help me out in comments. I can't remember, but it was so pointless. And then no happened, did it? And we were cack anyway. So I'd agree that he has regressed, to be fair, because we've gone from being, he's gone from being, linked to like PSG and even Scum and stuff. To be fair, and so that is, he certainly ain't off there next season. Ming says there cannot be a reason not to put Darlow in. He's a world goalkeeper. FFS. I do think that Darlow in, yeah. The 78 RPM saviour, who is a member, shout out to my dude, says, I think we are all panicking because yes, the team could blow out and fail to get a auto spot, but quite simply, points wise, only Mez can do it on his own. And which is, fair enough. I think there is a fair bit of panic setting in. It's not ideal, is it, Joe? We didn't have a goalkeeping coach for years, did we? Have we got one now? I don't know, to be fair, Joe. I actually don't know about that. I would imagine they've surely got a goalkeeping coach. I mean, I got ridiculed for this, but I think we've done all right for keepers over years, really. Leeds United are pleased to announce the appointment of Ed Wooten as first team Leeds United coach. Goalkeeping coach, joining Dan Farke's staff immediately. Wooten arrives at the Whites from Norwich City, having been with them since 2015. So yeah, Ed Wooten. So he might not be looking for this moment to be called out, to be fair. This might not be wanting to be his calling. He might have preferred me to read that out some time ago, as opposed to 5 days after Mez has been thrown under the bus. Michael Broaders says Meslier just needs another decent keeper in the squad to push him, and he'll sink, or he'll either sink or swim. Now that I'm up for that, Michael Broaders. That is sensical, my brother, because that, I do think that has played a part in it. He has been the number one. He's had absolutely zero competition. It's no good, And then in training and stuff, they go off on their own, don't they, the keepers? And you can't help but think, I'm sure Darlow's a proper nice bloke, but Darlow came to be the number one. The competition in there will be healthy, but if Darlow just knows he can't get a game, there has to be some sort. I don't know. I do think there's something in like having a young. It's hard to have a young aspiring keeper, I suppose, when Meslier Silent S is the young aspiring keeper. So, but yeah, the lack of competition for him is, I would definitely agree, is a proper problem. J298 says, let's just hope that these mistakes are not the difference at the end of the season. They need ironing out. We can't be messing about, that is for sure. We can't keep throwing 3-1 wins away. We were winning, we'd won that game and just threw it away. J298 says, and if they are not, they will be forgotten about. I think that's in reference to, sink or swim, because it is like once you get applied a bit of pressure from within the club, as opposed to just by the fans and stuff. There's no actual pressure on his place. It's more like just on his performance, whether he gets pulled out or not. As if it's, as I say, if it's in training and stuff, it's a lot more. You know, he has to be on his absolute best form, doesn't he, at all moments. But Matt Leeds says, "What's good, Matt? By the way, for me, Mez is a good keeper. Just mentality and needs time out the team, in my opinion. But looks like he will still start." Yeah, I was just saying that, mate. Yeah, I reckon he will start. I didn't think he would after, but after Farke's press conference there, I'm not sure whether he will or he won't. I think it's likely that he'll end up being our number one. That was my gut instinct after last night. To be fair, I do think he'll end up being the number one. I just think I don't know. I think we'll get away with it as well, which is not what everybody likes to hear. But I think we'll be all right. Big Sam staunch, but if he offers you a cheque, insist on cash. Yes, Sakamoto. Do you remember that? Do you remember that fiver or whatever it was that blew out? I think when we got absolutely ram-busted by Tottenham. I just remember it being a red hot day. I know it was last day of the season, but I don't know if that's when he got the fiver out. But the fiver like blew onto the floor, or tenner or whatever it was, and he picked it up, didn't he? And went over to the fourth official and said, like, here, like, you know, pretending to bribe him. It's like, you know, they don't make them like they used to. Mark Newell says, Soz just got here. Do not fear, brother. I was late to the stream. You are allowed to be late. This is not a media channel. Are we talking about Silent S? We are indeed. JLUFC says, how do? Anyone know who is Mezzanine's coach? Autocorrect. Called him that, by the way. Mezzanine. Mezzanine's coach, as we've just highlighted, is Ed Wooten. So, Coop put £1,000 behind Bar in Peacock. What, on Saturday? Have I missed out on that? I imagine, well, because I didn't go into Peacock, but I saw him in, I'm almost ashamed to say this, but on 1st of January, because obviously there's not a lot open, and I work on, well, I work relentlessly anyway, but I work on New Year's Eve, obviously, till like 4 or 5 in the morning, so I was absolutely scuppered. But I love going out on New Year's Day, it's mint, so we rallied a load of guys that we work with, and we all went out on New Year's Day, and there's not a lot open, guys, and I've not got a problem with going to this establishment, even remotely, to be fair, but it's not my, you know, it's not particularly my go-to, but it is a laugh. And Cooper and all his mates were there, so we went to Viaduct, and my mate were working on the door, actually, so I felt a bit better about it. And Cooper were in there with loads of his mates. He was just stood at bar, and like I went over to say hello to him, and that I got a couple of photos with him, but I was so mashed. It's so embarrassing when you meet someone when you fucking annihilate. They're like, you are a legend, mate. You are a legend. And they were like, yeah, cheers, man, mate. Go on, off your pop. And I'm like, honestly, mate, if anybody's ever give you shit over the years, I've always tried to defend you. Like, so, but I didn't get a drink off him, the bastard. Matt Lee says, players like Mez got let down with no competition, kind of like Bamford, when he had no one to take the pressure off him when he wasn't performing. Evening, Jack says, only Leeds bros. What's good, boys? All right. We're still on for that scrap, that straightener. Ming59 says, goalkeeper coach, Mez, listen, if the ball is going out of play, don't keep it in. Yeah, on your goal line. Yeah, it's that's the type of thing that doesn't need coaching. I've said it 100 times, but it's so frustrating, the tipping. I hate it when the keepers tip it over the bar, but that was an example of when you just think, just tip it over the bar and deal with corner. My mate said to me today, like, do you reckon he's panicking about dealing with corner? So he thinks, because I think personally, when situations like that, he's started overthinking stuff in general. So I think, you know, his instinct is just push it up, tip it over the bar, and then he thinks, well, hang on, maybe the corner, I don't want a corner coming in. So I'll go to tip it over, but I'll try catch it, like, shit, it's actually going over, and I can't catch it. And then by the time all that dump's gone through his head, he's just palmed it into the striker's feet, and or whether it was that whacked it in. So yeah, was not ideal to say the least. Alfie Smith says, hey Jack, what are your thoughts on Joffrey being made to stay because of Bamford's injury? I feel for him, as he just wants game time and would get that at Hull. Well, I am now ready to talk about Bamford if we're all up for it, so we will get to that, Alfie Smith, without a shadow of a doubt. Jodet, that's a bad impression of Mez. Couldn't you do it with a French accent? Anybody else worried about the Sheffield Wednesday game? They seem to have found some form. I'm not worried about nobody. I ain't worried about nobody in this league, lads. Yes, Oliver, what's good, brother? Left £400 behind bar, did I hear? I don't get what that means, Tom Copper. And that's in reference to Cooper putting some yuccas behind bar. Silent S is a hit. I want to see Geldart at 10 for the Harrogate game. I would like to see Geldart. Bamford. Let's talk, let's discuss Bamford. Now it's time for Bamford. Or Bamford, as it all going on. Been on sauce. By sort, I've had a beer, but I'm not. I don't know if you're referring to my cold. It's no, that's got naught to do with any other experiments that you might deem. I'm not an experimental guy when it comes to stuff like that. Gentlemen, to business. It's time for Bamford. Bamford is out for 4 weeks. Now, this has come from not from the horse's mouth, but from the guy that's in the carriage where the horse is meant to be pulling. So the guy, it's broke down. The carriage is broke down again. Donate him to medical science. So Oliver, yeah. So I ain't bothered about him being this idea that he's stealing everybody's to blame for it at this point, aren't they? I love Bamford and I've loved him over years and I've defended him for as much as I can. Bamford, well, 100% Joe. Bamford is not leaving the. He won't be leaving the doors in this window. That there's no doubt. But I've done my best to defend Bamford for a long time. I'm not for any other reason than I genuinely wanted to. He was my favourite player at club for some years, but he's out for 4 weeks. At this point, I don't know how he's getting injured. Do you know what I mean? I know they'll give it all sorts at in training, and it'll be 100 mile an hour, and it'll be 100%, and you're trying to get back into the team, and I appreciate that, but even Llorente were getting back from some of his injuries. I know they were only lasting about 25 seconds on pitch, but and then getting dragged off. But it's just I don't know how he's injured for 4 weeks again. I do feel for him. I know everybody will go, don't know, he's probably something that is. Matt Lee says, I still blame the club from when Bielsa said he won't be back till the final 2 games of the season. Jesse came in, then all of a sudden comes back and gets injured, and that ruined him, in my opinion. I don't know if it ruined him long term, but that 100% had a massive Jesse Marsh, man, just dragging him back in. Michael Pollard, Bamford will fire us to promotion Nirvana. Sakamoto says, speaking of flogging a dead horse. Matt Leeds, Bamford is a legend in my opinion. Annoyed that he has played 198 games just to get him on for 2 games injured and not so that he gets to. I'm not bothered about him getting to 200, to be fair, unless he's going to sort himself out. It's not. He's not sentimental FC, as I always get battered with. So Bryn Jones, Silent S is too panicky. Tries too hard. Oh, bam bam. Ta ta. A fit Bamford at tip top is worth his contract. I agree, Joe. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. The problem is, his tip top form. Well, his tip top. If he was a percentage on Champ Manager in terms, in fitness, he'd just be like, he's just never ever been at 100%, has he? Obviously, you'd argue in that Premier League season where he were absolutely sensational, what have it argued, which I'm not living off of that, but that would have been a 100% season in terms of fitness, and he probably got injured during that season. But I just mean, if it was just on a scale. But I dread to think what he's actually like when a car loses horsepower as it gets older, as everybody does. I dread to think how much horsepower he's got left, because getting injured, it must be so frustrating for him, to be fair. and embarrassing. There's nothing more than embarrassing. Like, Dallas spent a long time out, didn't he? And nobody said that he was stealing the career and stuff, because everybody sort of saw how horrendous his injury was. But Bamford's, it's the odds, this, it's just these injuries that don't, the dead legs of the world, and like the tiny little strain on your hamstring and stuff. People saying he can't play through pain and stuff, and I disagree with all that. He might be an absolute pansy, I don't know, but I don't know, he always seems like bang up for it. He doesn't seem like, he never rides bitch with defenders and that. He's always banging them about a bit and that. He's up for dark arts, he's up for rough part game and stuff, so I don't know. Andrew Thompson says 4 weeks will probably turn into 2 weeks. Well, there's a few P's. There's freaking what is it? Conspiracy theories going around, isn't there? That he's only injured for January, so they can't get rid of him. But they can't get rid of him. They can't get rid of him anyway. Like, if he ain't going, is he? I know that obviously they can try to sell him, but he can just hold firm. If he's got a decent contract, he's not going to want to drop down in standard. And to be quite honest, I don't blame him. How old's Bamford now? I know he's obviously 30. 1993, so he's 31, is he? He's only 31, but he's not going to want to drop down in standard at 31, is he? He's got another year. He's a championship footballer, isn't he? You would have to argue at minimum. Well, not at minimum. He's probably a championship footballer at this point. I feel for Geldart though. Like, Geldart didn't even get a mention by Farke. I don't think, to be fair, but he was discussing like Nonto playing in the 9. He was saying obviously because Peru's now picked up an injury, he's got a couple of strains. I don't know how Peru's straining himself. He don't move without about enough to get strained, but that's a joke, because I actually think Peru gets quite a bit of stick for not moving about when it's just how he is. He seems a bit laboured and that, and he's just not like razor fast. He's not sharp, is he? He's not like on the move. Jay says, I always called him Biscuit Bamford. Michael Broaders has gone in on that conspiracy theory. He's acting up so he can't get sold in the transfer window. Big Letty says, this might sound bad, but I'm glad that Bamford is out for 4 weeks because I don't want him in the team anymore. I mean, he hasn't been in the team though, has he? That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, everybody's a bit like butter about it. Like, he's not in the team. He's nowhere near the side, so we don't really need to worry about whether he's injured or not. And that's when all, he's stealing a career or whatever. Like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's the club's fault ultimately. I'm sick of hearing about his contract and stuff, and like, I don't know what, so like in every single press conference it said, it's like, oh, Bamford, get rid of Bamford now. Like, why? I understand, like, he's not playing and he needs to go or whatever. I don't know if he needs to go. I just don't know, why do you care? Do you know what I mean? There's bigger problems than Bamford. He doesn't play. And thus far, we've not needed him. What I don't like to hear is, as I say, Farke in the interview when he says, oh, if Bamford's obviously picked up an injury, so he's no longer available, but he has been third choice, so, you don't normally start by saying, oh, our third choice striker's out. Like, you wouldn't even mention it normally. So it sort of suggests that he's higher up the pecking order than he is, because he's not played barely any minutes for us this season. So Bamford's third choice, he's out. Perizli's first choice, he's out. I just think that'll be just this weekend, to be fair. I think he'll be back for the Sheffield Wednesday game, because he were pretty calm about it. Then obviously he mentioned Joseph, but then he mentioned Nonto. Like, Nonto can play in the 9. And I just thought, where are we going with that? Like, funnily enough, because I said on Just Joe's show yesterday, we're sort of like in a bit of a problem with, like, I think we've got an issue with having strength in depth. So this square round holes in square pegs or whatever, or if it's square holes in round pegs or whatever, square pegs in round holes, whatever the phrase is, the wrong player in the wrong position, or the wrong player in a weaker position. We're sort of stuck in this thing. But Ampadu's a better centre back than anybody we can get to cover at centre back. So if we brought somebody in, I mean, he's been going with Ampadu at centre back over Wobber. Now the problem is, and I want Ampadu in the number 6 all the time, to be fair. I think he's minting there. But the problem is, when you've got Tanaka and Rothwell who can both play excellently well in centre mid, you've got that Gilavogi who's like the furthest down the line, and then obviously Gruev coming back from injury. If Gruev can get back by end of the season, I know Ampadu and Rodon didn't have the best game against Hull. That's a better backup than anybody we can get in, because then you're putting Tanaka and Rothwell into centre midfield, and you just go, well, that's a brilliant centre midfield pairing. We've got a brilliant centre back in Ampadu. Granted, I'd rather him be in the 6, but we've got Tanaka, and so you're going to sacrifice the centre backs for the sake of bringing Tanaka and Rothwell, who are proper decent, proper mint footballers who have won plenty of games when Ampadu and Gruev were actually injured, and we were sort of reliant on them too. They got the job done. So you're going to bring someone in who isn't as good, and then you're going to waste the bench that is Tanaka and Rothwell, potentially Gruev, and Gilavogi even, which... same with Wobber, wibbling Wobber. If we signed Wobber, we're not really knowing what he was. He might have been he was a centre-back, left-back when he could potentially play defensive midfield. Well, he's never got anywhere near defensive midfield, and he's ended up playing quite a lot at left-back for us. But he's not going to play centre-back now. I understand people are saying if we get 2 injuries, then Wobber would have to, then the decision to be made. And, we've ended up with Ampadu at right-back and stuff. He clearly doesn't trust Schmidt. But Wobber's probably a better left-back. I know nobody likes Wobber at left-back, but it's only because you've been told he's not a left-back. I honestly think if we'd have signed him at the start of the season and thought, like Schmidt, he can play centre... Well, not Schmidt can play centre-back, but if we'd have signed Wobber saying the bloke can play centre-back or left-back, and then he had a few injuries and stuff, and this is the first we ever saw of him, and he played left-back, I think you'd be quite happy with how he's been. How he's performed, I think he's decent. Now, the problem comes in further up the field, because then when we're saying that's why I don't really think we need anything midfield behind, keeper, defence, midfield. Perhaps a left back, you could argue, but again, if Firpo can get back to fitness, we've got Wobber, Byram, and Firpo now. I know Byram can break down at any minute, but Byram's a really good left back. When we're going forward, if we're on about I still think we can. Depending on how long Aronson will get injured for a couple of weeks, I think we'd get away with it. I think one of the wingers can come in and do a job, and I know it does everybody's head in, and it's the round holes and square pegs or whatever again. But Nonto up top, that is like a no to me now at this point. I mean, the idea that Rothwell plays in the 10 is a no to me. We're stretching it too far then. My idea of us being versatile is honestly only defensively and midfield wise. Once we get to them top 4, front 4, I don't think that's that versatile. I don't want to start pissing around with that. I think they can all play on either wing or whatever, and as I say, do 10 minutes in a 10 role. But Rothwell in 10 or Tanaka in a 10, Luke from what I know better said Gilavogi in the 10 and stuff. Like, I don't want to start messing around with that. To be fair, can Joffrey do a job in the 10? I just think Joffrey, I can't remember who it was in Cup. I think Middlesbrough, we got battered, but he started all right. He played him out wide right. I think he started all right. He did a bit of a job. He's always a nuisance, isn't he? Geldart. He always gets about plenty. I don't know. Gone on a bit of a rampage. I just catch up with some comments. Born Leeds says surely we must speculate to accumulate, get a couple of players in. I want players in. Of that there is absolutely no doubt. We do need to get some players in. I don't think we need to get players in. I just think it does help. And as much as Connor Roberts didn't really do out, and everybody's saying, oh well, he couldn't even get in over Gray. Well, that's going to be the case whoever we bring in is kind of my point. While ever we've got this starting lineup, the starting 11, we are not going to get players that are better than the starting 11. You could argue you could get a better 10 than Aronson, but ready to go rock and roll now and be better than Aronson. I think Aronson's getting a bit of an hard time with it, really. Again, it's getting compared to Rutter, and his numbers are better than Rutter. So, Richard Todd said, "Why doesn't Pat do an interview on his plans for his own good?" Because I think he's just got to concentrate on what he's doing, dude. Honestly, like whether you think he's taking piss or not, I don't think I don't think it'd be beneficial to say, well, I'm looking to get fit to move out the club, or I'm looking to get in the team. I think because at the moment he's just looking to get fit, isn't he, and try and get back into the side. It's not a, you hope it's not. He's not taking us for a ride. I just don't think he is. I think he proved last year that if he gets the opportunity to play, he'll come in and play. Sakamoto Sensei says he looks ill, but I can't remember who we're on about. He looks ill when he's playing. Pasty, under the weather, ghost. I'm a bit pasty, under the weather, and a bit ghost, to be fair. Matt Leeds says Bamford barely plays now, so why are people mad about him being injured? The same people won't want him to play anyway. That's what I mean. It's just like you're just angry for the sake of being angry. Angry mad Gavs everywhere. CBBC says I didn't mean to say CBBC then. Budweiser kicking him. Evening Jack, what's good, brother? Joe Depp says no one is going to buy him, so let's get used to the fact he's getting his 40 quid a week. It just don't bother me that he's on the money. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know you're not, I presume you're not too bothered either, Joe, but it's just like, I think people are butthurt by it because they're not getting paid. It's like, as I say, Dallas were a long time out and nobody ever had a go about that. And I know Dallas, you could argue Dallas did a lot more for the club, but well, Dallas always wanted to push the narrative to some extent. But you know, in that interview when he'd come back at end of his when he'd retired, he'd said in that interview that he was out running about on grass, and the press took a photo of him saying he's coming back, like back on the grass. He said that actually really put him back a few months. It really fucked him off, that. So I think you're better off, you know, staying out of the way. Richard Todd, is Joffrey going to Wrexham? Well, this is the follow on from the Bamford talk. So this is why I feel for Gelder. I don't know why he's not getting a mention in that number 10 and number 9 role. Like, you know, I don't think anybody'd be mad at Farke for just mentioning him. If we're going to mention Nonto going into 9 role, I don't really see why we can't mention Gelder. I mean, there was some talks that he's going to get loaned out and stuff, but Hull City urged to sign pacey goal scorer who Leeds United name dropped, so that's obviously there's been a lot of talk about him going to Hull, but for some reason there's an idea that it depends on whether Bamford's fit or not. But I just don't know why it depends on whether Bamford's fit or not, because he's not even mentioned him. He didn't even mention him. He mentioned Nonto playing in the 9 over Joffrey. There's a big comparison between people do this comparison between Geldat and Joseph as well, which I think's really silly. I don't understand the comparison. I don't know why it's happening. They're two completely. They're not just not different players. They're also at different points of the career. They're both same age, I think, as well. How old's Geldat? I wish I could think, but the heating's on so fucking. It's so hot in here, boys, that it's like fucking. Yeah, he's 22, and then Joseph's 22, isn't he? They've had very different careers, and Joseph's had a much bigger chance in the squad. Joseph's 21 October, so he's just turned 21, so there's a year in him. And Joseph's had a much bigger running team. Geldat were not struggling in Premier League, but you know it was a bit part player in Premier League trying to make his way. Joseph never had to do that really. He came into this year to be our number 9. I don't think that should be in doubt. Andrew Thompson said should be in his prime at 31. 29 to 31 is like, yeah, well, you need to be in the ground running, don't you? Andy Rose says Terry Henry, Arsenal couldn't walk in the mornings for 10 years because of both Achilles problems. Achilles, I was watching Troy last night, so. CB says, Jack, what you drink? It's only Budweiser, mate, but it's alright, innit? Budweiser, it is what it is. I'm a lager out. Lager. Michael Braunders. A fit Bamford would get us promoted, but he's never fit. I couldn't agree more, so I really do. I was hoping, because I was pushing for it at the start of the season, that if we can just get 10 games out of him, or 15 games like we did last year, however many games he played last year, and he got a decent return for us, didn't he? That'd be enough. That'd warrant him being in the side, but I don't think we're going to get that out of him, are we? So let's see what his. Oh, that's appearances. It says 33, but a lot of them are substitutes, aren't they? Surely to God. So 33 games, 8 goals. But that is 100%. That's just appearances. I won't starts really, or at least in terms of minutes. Because it's saying here that he's got 10 appearances this year, and we all know, that ain't true, is it? He got 8 goals anyway, and he played about 15 games, didn't he? For us, he started about 15 games, and he started to break down again. But if you got that out of him again this year, that'd have warranted him being sat on bench all the time for me. But we're not going to get that out of him, I don't think. But it is what it is. Don't even want to ask, but when does his contract end? Bamford's contract. June 2026, so there's another year on it. Another season, really. And I would imagine he'll just run it out. It'll be 32, won't he? Yeah. Matt Leeds says, I'm worried with the Niners. Joseph is not good enough at the moment, so if Peru gets injured, we are in trouble. Yeah, that's what I mean, but I don't know. I'm not privy to being in training, Andy, so I don't know. I don't think he's on 60 grand, to be fair, Richard, but yeah, you would stay at 60 grand, wouldn't you? I'd stay at 2 grand a week, to be fair. I'd be buzzing. If we're into conspiracy theories, Farke hates Shoffey for relegating Norwich. Love it. Bertland is physically 56 years old and on secret early retirement. Yeah, it'd be like were it Samuel Eto'o, or I think it was Samuel Eto'o, where they didn't know how old he was. I think Yakubu, they didn't know how old he was as well, but there were a joke or something with Mourinho wanting Eto'o when he came to Chelsea, and then he made he did like a Zimmer frame celebration. He was some player, wasn't he, Samuel Eto'o? So maybe Bamford's on that hype. I can't remember what he said in presser, to be fair, dude. I don't know if he said he could go out on loan or not, because he got asked. He did get asked about him, and then whether it matters whether Bamford's injured or not. I just don't understand I don't understand what that's got to do with anything. And I don't think it should work like that either, because he's either a backup. Is he I don't really understand the third backup thing. I don't really get it. So it's right, I understand they're all vying for the first option, but if Geldart's not part of the 3 ever, then one of them gets injured. How does he become part of the 3? That creates I mean, I know it's tiered, because you'd have to say Peru's first, Joseph's second, Bamford's third, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's it just seems strange to me that Geldart's never getting anywhere near these 3, never getting an opportunity, and then one of them gets injured, and then suddenly we're discussing him as though he can be an option. It's well, that doesn't make sense to me. Jack, give us 2 names you would sign for 20 million for both to push the squad. I don't know, man. To get us out the league or long term. Lockie did a proper mint video yesterday about number 10s and stuff, and I spoke to him, and we were saying there's not a lot of number 10s going about from the Premier League to come down, even on a loan. So you're looking at younger lads, really, players that have maybe not quite done it. I'll tell you what is interesting, what Notts Forest. I disagree with the idea that what everybody's saying what Notts Forest did when they went up to Premier League is the thing to do, just because they're doing really well this year, and they signed 155 players, didn't they? And everybody thought it was ridiculous, and I still think that's ridiculous. But it sort of has worked for them. But what they have done is they've bought a load of rejects, haven't they? So not literally rejects, but they've bought a load of fallen stars, haven't they? So Elanga, Chris Wood, that Gibbs White. They've got a few players in that are Premier League prospects that have fallen away. Elanga, every time I saw him play for Scum, I always thought Elanga's alright. And then you feel like they're not of the standard that they're after. But how Man U were playing, I thought, well, Elanga's always looks like a pretty decent performer to me. Now I understand that there's levels to it, but I don't think it'd be a bad idea to try and grab some of them that are sort of on the fringes or on the up, but can't quite do it, like, you know, Smith Rowe, Arsenal. He was similar. He always looked good. Just players that look good, that have got loads of ability, but just like, I mean, Ross Barkley's slightly different because he's on the other end of his career, but Ross Barkley's been decent and stuff. He got a decent. Not sure where Ross Barkley's ended up this year, to be fair, but I think he's playing all right again. He's at a decent club, I think. Villa, yeah, he's at Villa as Ross Barkley. You know, played 16 games at Villa. Well, they're a decent side, aren't they? So there's players to go at. I got ridiculed last year for saying Sean Longstaff would be a good signing in centre mid. I don't know if we actually need a centre mid now going up with Ampadu, Gruev, Tanaka. I would sign Rothwell on the basis that I just think he sort of deserves I just think he'd be a mint squad player, and, you know, set pieces and stuff could be huge for us in Premier League if we actually get them sorted out and we actually become threatening for him from them. But yeah, in terms of like getting out at league, I saw there's been a lot of talk. I mentioned yesterday about that Ben Davies, who we were actually on about him last January, with the Welsh connection, because I found it funny how, you know, we're basically just the Wales team through and through. But he's 31, but we're on about they're valuing him about 8 million or something. Now his contract ends in June 2025, so it's coming up to finish. So if you know, there's always a few injury problems, as they always are, but he'd be a similar player. But again, not quite who I was on about with, like, the Elangas of the world and stuff, because they're young lads, you know, and they're all playing well. I'm pretty sure they've got Hudson-Odoi as well of Notts Forest. You know, it's mint side that, really, and they've all hit ground running. So, but he's a centre back, left back into Ben Davies. I think that'd be a good signing now. I think if we could get him in, I'd be up for that. You know, a bit of strength. JL UFC says, I work for minimum wage. If I take a day off, it counts against me. When I'm at work, I have to earn any bonuses. That's my problem with BAM. But it's just, shit is as shit does, isn't it, man? I feel fear. I'm exactly the same. We're all in the same boat, but these boys aren't, are they? They play a different game. They live in a different world, don't they? It just, I get you and understand the frustration, but that just is what it is. Yes, Mark Allison, are you Spud? Oh, get in. Yes. We met you around Christmas time, didn't I, dude? Get in. No way. Met a guy called Spud, who is Mark Allenson here. I'll give you a shout out, I think, after I'd met you, dude. That was a crazy night. I was absolutely mashed. Mint night. Did you have a good night? Sakamoto Sensei says, I hope Farke's keeping his cards close in terms of backup for Peru and Joseph. You can't count on Bamford as a third striker anymore. I agree. What else have we got here? Darren McGregor says, rather see Joffrey than Joseph at 9 at the moment. It's fair enough, man. I'd like to see Joffrey get a decent chance in squad. I genuinely would. Enaz on about Enaz spreading the conspiracy theories. Jack were Speed, McAllister, Strachan and Batty all deemed as midfielders back in the day. Well, yeah, but they're all still midfielders, really. I think there's an overdone thing on, like, you know, because people are now trying to suggest that the 10's sort of like, you know, a midfielder can play in the 10. But it's like 10's not really 10, because 10's now changing, isn't it, from being a second striker to being part of this front three thing. But the front three thing is really, I prefer it to 4-4-2. In fairness, when you play 3 and 1 up top, I do think it works better. I think you can get more attacking players in decent areas as opposed to 4-4-2 where it's a bit more rigid. But the box to box midfielder's gone, hasn't it? It's more possession based and everything like that, isn't it? So McAllister, I would say, was a centre mid, to be fair. I think he'd play in like Tanaka's role. Batty definitely would play in Ampadu's role. Strachan, you'd have to say was a 10 really. Or I mean, I don't. To be fair, I might be wrong with Strachan. You might say he's. No, I would probably think Strachan was a 10. But I'm happy to be wrong about that because I was a very young buck. But 10 with a bit of a licence, you know, he'd also, I reckon he could move out wide. But I just think he'd be a bit wasted out wide, Strachan. He was brilliant on his Strachan. Jack Sterling says, our defensive unit as a whole looks patchy, to say the least. Set pieces are a barometer, it's a good word. In possession we look good, in defence, but make us defend, different story. Balls out the bag here, balls out the bath, balls out the window here. I thought at the start of the season, I thought we looked absolutely dreadful defensively. It really, really shat me up. I thought we were proper up against it here. Tim Flower says, but what if we lose Ampadu, Rodon, Pascal and Wobber, then what? Exactly. That's my fear. Surely we need two or three centre-backs in case that happens. 100%. You just never know, you know. If they all come down with flu, you know, what then? What if they before the Chef Wednesday game, there's a spy comes in, somebody infiltrates the group from Chef Wednesday and like puts something in the food and they all come down with food poisoning. Now I know you could argue that, you know, they'd be able to cancel the game or try to get it postponed, but what if they was more intelligent than that? What if they only knocked a few of them out with it, just main players, or just like you're saying there, just totally decimated a few like one position, just centre mid, did Tanaka, made sure Gruev's no chance of a comeback, Ampadu, Rothwell, Gilavogi, they all get it. What then? CB says, Tim, look on the bright side, mate. I need to blow my nose again, boys. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Be right back. I'm back, boy. Hey, blowing your nose on a live stream. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? I need to check my nose actually, make sure there's no spoilage. Andrew Thompson says Gilavogi at centre half would work. You see, but then we've only got one, haven't we? That's the problem. Only one in there. 78 RPM Saviour says a fit and up for it. Firpo backing Solomon in his current form is a mouth-watering prospect. I love it. I love that. 78. I love it, mate. Firpo getting back. There's an idea as well at Firpo, you know, if he's going to sign a contract elsewhere and stuff, that there's going to be like, you know, like he's not going to be up for it or something. And I don't buy into that. I don't know about anybody else, but I think he'll just, and it's not. It doesn't even come down to professionalism. I just think once you sign a contract, you sign a contract. If he gets injured or whatever, I don't know. He's gonna want to do well with us. I think. Why would he not? And I actually think an 80% Firpo is better than most anyway. I think Firpo's so mint in this league, so dynamic, and when he busts forward, it's exotic. I love him, the Wanderer. Oh, Diggler TC, gonna love this in there. Everybody's gonna love this. Does the Dyche sacking mean that Aronson comes back? I wonder. Well, I was gonna make a joke and say that, you know, can Harrison do the job in the number 10? Now that the reason why that is a joke is for the whole time when Marsh was like trying to play everybody unbelievably central. I don't know if you remember that Jesse Marsh guy, but when we were playing unbelievably central, with Harrison I was like, if I've ever seen like an out and out left winger, like just a left winger, and I know nobody likes him anymore, but a proper decent left winger who wants to get to the byline and whip a ball in, it is without a shadow of a doubt Jack Harrison. Crazy to me. No, I don't think Harrison does come back. I don't think loans really work like that. I know it's happened where people get recalled and stuff, but no, there's no chance Harrison will get recalled. Nobody's getting recalled. I don't. And Farke has actually mentioned that about. I I think it were about Giabi or something. He said it's no good for the player to bring him back. The idea of sending them out on loan is to give them an opportunity for a full season to go and prove themselves and have sort of bad patches as well within that, innit? So it's not really like, it's not good for the player to be just pulling him around like that. And then he comes into play for, say, if we brought Giabi back when we had that injury crisis, because that's when he got asked, when Gruev and Ampadu got injured and we only had Rothwell and Tanaka at the time, and then they brought Gilavogi in. But prior to that, there was on about bringing Giabi back. But it's like, what, you're going to bring Giabi back to still sit on the bench waiting for Rothwell or Tanaka to get injured? Once you've made a loan decision, it doesn't really matter what they do while they're out on loan. I actually mean that. I don't think you can drag them back and just be like, oh yeah, come back in. Like, well, am I going to get straight inside? Because I won't even make in the bench. You've got rid of me because of the 4 centre midfielders that were in front of me. And now, because you've only got 2 of them left, you want me to come and sit on bench as the third one. So I'm getting game time. Like, is it? No, I mean, I know it's slightly different with Harrison, but I mean, I've said before that I think Harrison's one of the better ones that played for us previously, but I don't think we need him now, to be fair. I think we've got plenty of depth in wing, and he can't do the 10 role, and it can't be. You won't move Solomon off that left wing at the minute, so Jack Sterling says, this might sound bad, but when our fans mention the word Bamford, I expect a stupid comment to follow. Yes, brother. Apparently everybody has to agree on Harrison, Everton, Leeds and Harrison. I'm assuming you mean like the fan base wise, everybody's sort of like, they're all bumming Everton lot out there online. It's too much for me. Oh, I've lost where I am. Shit. Sorry boys, I might miss a few comments here because I've lost where I was. Oh no, I'm here. Do we blow the kitty? I'm hoping you don't mean cats, mate. I like cats. Do we blow the kitty in Jan to get in the Prem, or chuck the dummy from the pram? Well, much to Just Joe's dismay, because he doesn't like the idea that the 49ers will maybe be saving a bit of money for the Premier League. I don't think there's going to be any sort of panic purchases. I think Farke can push for stuff, and I think he probably is doing. There's a call out for Farke saying that, because Farke has said in his press conference as well, to be fair, that he makes the final decision on substitutes. Of course he does on substitutes, but on who comes into the club. So whether you lay the blame slightly at Farke's door, it's basically, if we don't go up this season, it's Farke's fault, innit? Or Farke gets blamed for it. Whether or not it's his fault, he definitely gets blamed for it, and he deserves it. That is what it is. He's had 2 seasons to go up. We had a bit of a shitty start the first season in an anomaly of a year. We have to go up this year, or the club changes quite significantly, really. So, and with him, that means the same. CBBC, that's me. Yes, sir. Bryn Jones says he's part of the JCB family. Is Bam Bam? That is a myth. That is not true. I thought that would. I bought into that. I bought that lie. Is Patrick Bamford related to JCB? No, Patrick Bamford is not related to the owner of JCB. The striker has denied the rumour that he has been related to the JCB owner. Lord Bamford. Bamford has said that one of the coaches at Leeds believed his father was involved with JCB, but that this was a myth. His real father is Russell, an architect. So unfortunately not. I love that story that he was part of JCB family. Honestly, I did, but no, he's not. He'd rather play than sit on the bench. 100%, Michael. That's what I mean. That's why I think it's like harsh on, not harsh because I don't really care, but it's just a bit like, I don't know. He'd rather be playing. He showed that last year. Like, and he does get frustrated. And when he plays, he is, as I say, he's up for it with centre backs and stuff. He's not shirking out. I know, like, you know, every time he goes into a tackle, you think he's not going to get back up, but you know, he's always roughing about. He still gets like, he comes on for like 4 or 5 minutes and he's still like having a tussle with centre back, having it, you know, kicking off in a corner and whinging at ref or whatever. Like, he's definitely bothered. He definitely wants to play. You know, he just wants to get goals, does Bloke, to be fair to him, because, you know, no shuts fan bases up like goals. G60 Nick, what's good, brother? It says, I see where Farke's coming from, wanting minimal in, as we do have the best squad in the league, and the biggest task is getting a team working together fluently, which takes time. Yeah, that's why you don't. That's what I was saying the other day. That's why you don't just want a load of dumping. You can drag loads of players in, can't you? Just like, you know, like Tim Flowers wants with the 4. You know, what happens if every member of the squad gets injured? But then you just end up with a B team and a C team and a D team. You know, how bad are they under 21s when it gets to that point? So if you're just dragging in bodies for the sake of dragging in bodies, it's like you can't work with them, and then it's a waste of time. They're training within first team training. Everybody in the first team knows they're nowhere near the first team. You know, it's kind of what probably happened to Phillips at Man City. You know, and I think they all got on with him to some extent, but they all knew he wasn't good enough to play for him. Pep knew he wasn't good enough. It wasn't going to happen for him. He was out of form. And then, you know, he's just become like this guy that sort of follows everybody around on first team pitch, picking all cones up and that, don't he? So, yeah, there's no point just getting people in for the sake of it. It has to be an improvement. And Farke did say in his presser, if there's a player that makes us better, I would never say no. So you don't need to say much more than that. Probably seen more promise from Geldat overall. Then is that in reference to Joseph, Martin? Because I would say Geldat's always produced things on pitch, right, that I've always felt like nobody else in the side can, or anybody else on the pitch can do. He's had like moments where I just think that is like he's some of his touches and stuff, some of his little like intricate dribbles and stuff are awesome. I know that doesn't mean all, but I always thought he was like ready to create or open up the game a little bit, or beat a player, or I don't know. I know they see him every day in training and stuff, and so I don't want to go like down the. I don't know. I do not know. Andy Roy, if Peru wasn't so deadly accurate in front of goal, he would be League 2 standard. But if Firpo wasn't so mint on ball, it'd be League 2. He wouldn't be playing football, would he? If Ampadu wasn't as good as he is at defending and tackling, then he would be League 2 standard. I don't really, you know, that is a number 9, isn't he? Joe Depp says, but he is deadly in front of goal, so it's like you don't have to worry about. I've spoken about Bamford for fucking ages on here just then. It's just a town full of coffee shops. I used to work in Harrogate. It's not my favourite place in the world. Used to DJ at a place called Rehab, but it's shut now. I think it's a vodka de Cuba now. I don't know if it still is, to be fair. It might have changed hands since then, but I had some good times there, to be fair, but I do not want to be back there. Tim Flowers says, I think we can cope without any signings. We can get by and get promoted, spend the money in the summer when we are in the Prem. It also that also opens up to like actually having some. You can get a bit bullied in January, can't you? We were talking about this yesterday, but you can get pushed around a little bit, or spend over. You know, everybody knows what you need. You know, it doesn't help. Fan base won't shut up about a 10, a striker, and a left back and a keeper. It's like, do you think that's going to make things cheap in January? Like, be much better off being like the 49ers are, very calm, cool. Like, I think they're constantly discussing stuff, to be honest. And they're never going to get ripped off. They've not spent a lot of money on nobody, and we've got some really good players out of it. If you think we need a keeper, which I think we probably, I would argue now, do. I think Mez can pull it back round, but I don't mean now. I think we'll get to end of season with Mez and Darlow. But I think if somebody is to come in for the Prem, we're in a better position to get a keeper in the Prem, aren't we? Surely, to God. That cannot be even argued. What's the point in, can get a youngster like in a position, in a forward position where you promote them and say, look, you're not going to get straight into the side, but we will be going into the Premier League next year. You can be part of that side if you improve. Next year, we'll be looking to try play you in the Prem. Do you know what I mean? This might be your only opportunity to get to the Prem and stuff. But with a keeper, it's like, you're looking for. We're not wanting a risky keeper, are we? Or are you? Do you know what I mean? So I don't think anybody's wanting to take a risk on the keeper. It's not like, you bring some gadger in. It's like you're looking for you're looking for somebody like Carl Darlow, aren't you? But just everybody's gone off the idea of Carl Darlow. So obviously Farke don't rate Joffy. Now the only thing I'd say about that, Martin, is there's been a few managers now, haven't there, with Joffy, and we've all gone down. There was only Bielsa that gave him some minutes, really. Bryn Jones says Latty Lath would cause havoc. I am on board with that, to be fair. If that is who we ended up bringing in, I think that'd be mint, really. If they're on about 15 million for it, that's the type of shit I'd be on about. I think he's 24. He got plenty of goals last season. He scored a mint goal against us, which always seems to help. He got 16 goals last season, 12 goals this season. 26 he is, sorry. But I do think that'd be a decent sign. It's just whether or not Middlesbrough are wanting to get rid of him or not. But he's obviously got nearly the same amount of goals that he got last year. But again, they picked him up for I think they picked him up for like 4 million or something. They want 15 million for him, which is fair enough. He's had 2 decent seasons in Championship. But that could be a call, and you never know with him. 26, he could go into Prem, and he could be decent for us in Prem as well. So, No, yeah, legendary MVG says, I'm assuming that's about Farke. Farke don't really rate Joffy, but nor does any of our managers. That's kind of problem with me. Enar says Ten Hag didn't want Alanga, missed Ten Hag, greatest manager that have ever managed to go, mate. It was sensational, wasn't it, brother? So I mean, but there's a few that have gone by the wayside. Hudson-Odoi, I think, to be fair, Hudson-Odoi didn't really do it at Chelsea, but they're all banging on about him. You've got to give some players some time, really. But Alanga always looked decent to me. Similar to Salah, really. I mean, Chelsea were in a different position there, so I'm not going to go down that. Because obviously Man U was shit when Alanga were trying to play well for him. McTominay, I said when that was getting rumoured, when we nearly went up last year, that'd have been a brilliant signing. I didn't mean... I can't remember how it went down, actually, with Spuddy. Can't remember how it went down. I don't think it was my round. It's a good excuse, isn't it? Hull fan, do you think Geldart will do us a job if we sign him? Well, he went out on loan, didn't he? He were at Sunderland I think it were at Sunderland he went to a couple of years ago, and he were a bit unlucky with that. Apparently he had a partnership with some big gadger up top, and then he got injured, and then he never really came back from it. So I think he started quite well playing as he's not going to play up top on your own. I don't really know how Hull play, to be fair, dude. But I like Geldart. I think you'd enjoy. I think whether or not he can, I'm not patronising to you because you got a good result against us the other day, but you're obviously quite far down league. So whether or not he can, pull it out at bag for you or not, I don't really know. I think it'd be a good signing for you though. I'd if I were a Hull fan, I'd be up for that signing. Joe Depp says worth every penny. Depends how many pennies it is, like, doesn't it? But Rich Sullivan, how are you doing? I think Joffrey will be gone by the weekend. I don't know. I don't know if he will or not. We're not going to get rid of anyone, are we? I know Geldart doesn't really fit in that. Because Geldart's nowhere near squad at the moment. You see, we might lose players like Geldart, but in terms of everybody else, we're not going to lose anyone, which is a good thing, isn't it? Unless some dummy money comes in. I mean, there were talks that Stewart were going out and stuff, and I just think that's total bollocks. And then when he were on bench, even though he were injured the other day, that were a Hull on it. And there were talks that he's out. It's like Stewart's on bench. He's not even on bench. He's not even on bench. And Bamford's not on bench. He's finally getting out. Like, I think they're probably just injured lads. G60 Nick says Rutter was the best 10 we had in my opinion. Love that man. My match worn signed Rutter shirt was my prized possession, but probably worth fuck all now. Yeah, it's one of them, innit, brother? But Meslier in midfield, says Martin. I'm all for it. Andy Rowe, Jack, if they come down with the flu, Farke still picks them, but leaves fully fit Ramazani and Schmidt on the bench. I'm not sure Ramazani's fully fit, brother. Mark Jones in the building. Not seeing you for donks, dude. The Stig's been missing you. Andrew Thompson says Harrison and Alioski together were mental. Yeah, it was there. I loved Alioski. I mean, I know everybody did, but what a time to... It was so annoying when Alioski's that type of player that if you played against him, he'd do your head in, didn't he? I remember when he did Pepe, when he got in Pepe's head, didn't he? And he headbutted him or whatever he did, and Alioski's rolling around. It was so mint, wasn't he? And a brilliant player, Alioski. His technical ability gets really undermined. He would come off at bench and stuff and pull something out of bag on edge at box or whatever. An awesome left foot. I know left foot has always looked better, but it's good. Joe Depp says backup number 9 is Fairport. I agree. Backup number 10 is Fairport. I agree. Right winger or left winger backup Fairport. I agree. Centre defensive midfielder backup Fairport. I agree. Silent S backup. You guessed it. Fairport. Yes. Fairport FC. Love that, says Hank. Martin Bleasby, yeah, 100% Solomon's in the zone now. Is that a new rumour? Legendary MVG, because I'm up for spreading it if it is. There's plenty of conspiracies floating around in chat tonight. I'm loving it. He has shares in Deep Heat, says Sakamoto. It's a wonderful thought. I'm a bit allergic to Deep Heat, you know. I know it's a proper savagely soft thing to say, but I am. My mate once before a cup final, we were only kids, and my mate, he had some spray one. I'm not too bad with the rub-on stuff, but the spray one, and he sprayed it all next to me on his leg, and we were only like 12. 13 in a cup final, and I've got to say at 12 and 13 I don't know if you require DP. Now I may very well be wrong, but looking back as a 12 and 13 year old, unless I broke my leg, I remember having a really bad knee, like stuff like popping out my knee, and I was still running around like a maniac. You're so malleable, you're alright, aren't you? But you're spraying DP on anyway. I came out and it was pissing it down, luckily, but my face was like a tomato. And you know when you're a kid and you're playing cup finals, you go to like decent grounds, don't you? And so pitches are always nice. Pitches aren't necessarily nice, they're normally shit, but the ground's nice. There's a stand there, and like you're in actual changing rooms and that, and the showers available that nobody dares use because you're all kids. And then I came out and I was everybody was there from school and stuff. Like they were a big cup final, and I was like a tomato. It was so embarrassing. I'd balled up and I was red hot and red raw. I was like, you fucking knob. I was so like angry at him. And then at half time he was slathering it on again. I was like, get me away from this guy. Josh, he were called. Josh Wigglesworth. Wiggly. He's a good player, to be fair, but we used to argue all the time on pitch, but he was a nice lad. Playing Bamford for 5 minutes is no good for him or the team. He needs a good half at least. There's probably something in that. Coming on for 5 minutes is just too like jerky, isn't it? It's too like, and then not really getting out going and then sort of stopping. I've never thought about that. It can't be good for your body, that, really. Can anybody think of a keeper we could get? If anybody mentions that Kelleher or whatever he's called from Liverpool, I'm going to lose my damn mind. If Shane O'Donnell says, if centre mid chip in with a few more goals and we start to get some from corners /free kicks, It would really improve the squad, these things, and a decent keeper, settle teams. I agree, man. I mean, we're the highest scoring team in the league, aren't we? And that, so to some extent, that's why I don't really understand the imminent panic that everybody's got on for if Peral easily gets injured. Now I know he's probably the top goal scorer at the club. I'm not certain of that, but I bet he is. But we're getting goals elsewhere, like everybody else is chipping in. So it's not panic stations quite yet in terms of getting goals. But yeah, I agree. There's no doubt about it. If we started scoring from corners and free kicks, we'd piss the league. We get loads and loads of corners. It's such a waste. And like anybody can go on about set piece takers, and Rothwell can put a decent delivery on, but nobody can head the bastard thing. I say it all the time in my live feeds, but if Struick ain't headering it, nobody is, are they? Nobody. It's just like if it goes over Struick's head, and Struick's not, well, Struik is good in the air, but he's not a goal threat in the air, is he? I mean, Rodon's been more of a goal threat, from with his head. Struik's obviously got a few goals, but they're all with his feet. I can't think of many headers that he's got. It's just if he don't win it, nobody's winning it. But Rothwell can deliver a decent ball. Just go and win the bastard header. Ming says, let's be honest, we have to trust the 49ers. Got to be in a better position with them than without. 100% I agree. So does Joe Depp. Get a 10 and a right centre back. Saying Andrew Marsh. I think I'd be up for a 10. Andy Ross says, I had KG on loudspeaker the other day. This dude walked by me and said, what's this fella's credentials? True story. What, in town? It's legendary. Fair play all day. Get Wilder and he'd bang a few heads together. I couldn't handle Wilder at this club. I'd rather stay down than get Wilder in the club. Last of the old guard need to go. Night Jack and Co. Take it easy, late jail, UFC. That all rhymes as well, brother, because I'd normally say leave the old guard alone, but as soon as you rhymed it, last of the old guard need to go. Night Jack and Co. Are you getting away with it? Fiery Jack on your bollocks. Dick Dastardly says Wildergate, where's he gone from the end of the videos? I know, well, the clock watchers were in and on and over here, weren't they? I were getting stick for it, so saying like why is Wilder there and that, so and there's to be fair, you get like a thing on, it's called your analytics on your YouTube, and they do tail off when it gets to that end bit, so nobody's listening to my track, but it is what it is. Stephen Lowe, when I was a kid we had a dodgy goalie in Gary Sprake, Wigan White's loyal. Gary Sprake's a legend though, isn't he? He'll never be forgotten. Martin Bleasby, that happened to me too. I had to go back in to get showered. Everybody thought I'd gone for his shit. It's unbelievable how we got nobody that can head a ball. Truly, the mind boggles. It's mind blowing. Just poured that down my face. Just want to mention, I spoke about Ben Davies, so I'll just do a few just talk super quickly about transfers. Oh my god, man, he's mental for it, and he loves it. It's so easy to get him going. It's so funny. I kind of there's the thing is about football, and it's like personalities that you like love to hate, and he's like, when he's not there, it's not as fun. And you can argue as much as you want. I detest him. He does my head in. But that level of like hatred towards just somebody that's within football is kind of a like, isn't it? I hated Roy Keane, and then when he retired and it's all said and done, it's like, and I actually like him as a pundit, but that's a different thing. Same with Carragher. Same with Neville. You know, I mean, Neville does my head in a bit, but you know, you can't help but... So once they're gone... Because I used to be like, yeah, get them sacked. When all my new managers were struggling, I was like, yeah, get them sacked. It's so funny. And then they're gone. It's like, oh no, don't sack them. Like, the whole pantomime's gone now. You want them actually to stay. He's like, keep them in. Like, we want them in. This is ace. No, Dick Dastardly. No. G60 Nick says, I know it's still raw for most, but Silent S has had a few bad days. I agree. but he's a top goalkeeper and better than anyone we can get. He can be amazing. We've all had that days from time to time. G60 Nick, love it, mate. Yes, Stephen Lowe, promotion and a cup run beating Manu on the way up. Why not? Let's have it. Joe Depp's in with G60. I love that comment. Want to also just say, because Sam Byram's been asked about his future and stuff, and he was heavily defending Meslier Silent S in an interview. Quite a long interview, to be fair. It was on 15 minutes. Byram's played 202 games for us now, and there's only Jack Harrison that's played more. If he plays on Saturday, that's 203 games, and I think he eclipses, I can't remember who he eclipses, but there's only Harrison. Meslier's right up there. Byron said that maybe he's just destined to be here, which was kind of nice because he's one of our own, and I know, you know, sentimental FC, but he is a good player, he's Byron, and he was brilliant last year, and we've needed him again this year, and he's been good. He said that he'd love to stay here, and I'd love it if he could, you know, just, I know this is sentimental FC, I suppose, but we're on about strength in depth, aren't we? And you're all on about getting rid of him and that we've not got enough, and then we've got enough, and then we, you know, and get rid of old guard. But I could have Sam Byron sitting on bench for the first season in Prem. Could you not? I'd be up for that. Like, you know, why not? You need more than Sam Byron as a 31-year-old man, but I think he can do a job in Premier League for 20 minutes every 3 weeks. You know, when we need him, I think it'd be a good signing. That's why I like the idea of Rothwell. I think Rothwell can be a proper mint squad member. We're really going to need some strength in depth. I don't want to lose anybody from the side, really. I don't know whether that's including Firpo. I think he sort of deserves a chance at top, but I think Firpo's going to be moved on. I think he'll just run his contract down. I think Bamford's unfortunately done, isn't he? So he'd be on his way out. We will do, as we go towards end of the season, we will do like on one of these underlaps, we'll do a are you in or out, you know, by end of the season, basically. Who do you reckon's going to be there? I mean, which last season were a wild one, to be fair. Got a few right, got a few wrong. I thought Gray'd stay an extra year, but we won't go back over all that stuff. Briefly on centre forwards, just off the top of my head, I would say I'd take that Laggy laughing if we can get him for 15 million. I think that's pretty good. That Mergin Bersham, a guy that run about, Jesse Marsh's main man, that's apparently a load of bollocks. I think that's fallen apart. That Dor Turgeman's a load of bollocks. Centre back, left back, that Ben Davies from Tottenham. I don't know whether he'd be up for it or not, but that'd be a decent signing to get us to Prem, and then he'd be able to do again like a similar job in the Prem. I'm not worried about Ben Diaz going back to Sheffield United. He's got 22 goals a couple of seasons ago, got 14 goals in 43 games. The 3 seasons before that, he got 7, 1 and 1. I think he'll strengthen the side a little bit. We don't need him. 53 goals in 213 championship games. They're signing players. You know, I know everybody's on about that Enzo Lufc and stuff, who is obviously a decent player from Roma, but they're all signing sort of centre mids. I mean, that Enzo Lufc's a centre mid. Loads of centre midfielders, loads of wingers. There's 10 a penny of them about. Whether or not we bring a keeper in, I'm not. This Conan led as my keeper. It's been told that the best keeper in the universe, some Argentine guy who's 31 years old. He's at River Plate, never played for anybody, literally his whole life. So, you know, that Swedish guy, Tornqvist or whatever. There's been some rumours that, well, not rumours, he has this young lad called Robbie Cook's been on trial with us, but he's 19, and they're not going to go into, if we end up signing him properly, they're not going to go down that line. That Andrew Amadoboli, who we've been having a laugh about, who's the next Rio Ferdinand, we'll see on that. I won't be adverse to that, to be fair. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to draw this to a close, guys. So I appreciate every which one of you, as you well know. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in. I proper appreciate it. The Underlap will be back every Thursday. We might up the ante a bit on lives. I might see if anybody wants to jump on with me or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate you. Honestly, I'll drop in tomorrow for a little bit of a breakdown of. I'll drop in for a breakdown of the Harrogate game, which won't be much of a breakdown, to be fair. It'll probably just be general, just chat, because you know, famous last words, but I don't even think they're having the best time, to be fair. So we should be dicking them, but Bamford is a broken player and has been for a while. Yep. Byron made the 2 best tackles I've seen in ages. They're smashing into it. We need more of that toughness. It is good. Did you see the Opatega fights as Ming 59? He's a big beast, isn't he, him, dude? See the size of his head? Give us a rap, says the unambiguous. Flipping the rhythm, I want to be winning, I want to be bigger than minimum, 1 in a million, whapping the women whenever they're willing, I want to be in them, you want to be with them, I want to be living, I'm calm and forgiving, I'm calm and driven, I'm starting to stiffen, I'm harder than prison, I'm plotting the fiction, I'm back to the future, back to the beginning, absolutely packed to the limit, starting to lose it, I'm acting silly. Mark Jones, look at you being all professional. I've never come across that one. Boosh. Cheers, boy, says Ming. Cheers, Sakamoto. Honestly, appreciate every which one of you. Take it easy, everyone. I'll drop in tomorrow. If you want to go check out my last 2 videos, I'd proper appreciate it. They've got a bit of shit views. Video from yesterday and the video from the day before, only on like 600 views. So if you haven't seen them, I'd proper appreciate it. If you want to check my music out, JackCity. If you type in JackCity Games into YouTube, I will pop up, and then you know, go leave us a comment on some of my tracks. I'd appreciate it. Even if you think they're shit, just go say that you think they're alright. I appreciate you. Cheers, guys. Thank you, Unambiguous, Dick Dastardly, Ena, Shane, Stig. Take it easy, everybody. In a beat.